round. Moved on to defeat High Spirits in the third round and took down Angel FM in the quarterfinals to arrive here. It's the number 2 seed NESCardinality and the number 11 seed TristalMTG. The winner will move on to the winner's bracket final to face number 9 seed Up2NG. And the loser will get bumped to the bonus bracket semis to face off against number 17 seed Guelph 35 or number 4 seed Brian Williams 42. That match will be determined sometime next week. And this is a heck of a matchup. Special thanks to the restreamer tonight, Lord of the Synth. Tracker for tonight is Kamian Ranakai, and joining me is Lavkin. What's going on?
Man, I am super excited for this one. Obviously, NESCardinality and TristalMTG, two absolute veterans. There's a reason they're still in the winner's bracket. They know what they're doing. And while we wait for this to get started here, let's take a look at these stats. They've got pretty decent strength, pretty terrible HP, but they've got the heal and hurt spells, so could get off to a pretty quick start with this one.
Yeah, the hurt spell in particular is going to allow them to get the first several levels very quickly. That's probably the second best start that you can ask for in terms of spells, because you already have healing as well. So yeah, and they have 8 MP with which to use some of those spells. Good agility also means that they can do a little bit of early exploration. They can already defense break some of the very small monsters. So even though the strength score and the HP look a little low, I expect them to get started very quickly here. Both of them emphasizing strength and HP, so we'll have similar stats for both players as the race goes on. And yeah, so this is probably going to be a quick one in the beginning. Let's see if things get more challenging as we go.
Absolutely. And so as we kick things off here, we're going to take a look at what's in these chests. We have gold in the first chest, silver harp in the second chest, the obligatory key, of course. NESCardinality rolling a little bit short of potential hand axe, got a low roll there. I think they roll anywhere from 500 to 750. But with that hurt spell shouldn't be too bad. But what's the... Oh, we have some swamp, and then there we have an immediate town. Might see a quick reset here.
Yeah, it was interesting. I like the play of he checked his stats and his spells first to make sure. And now he's going to just settle for the Copper Sword because, again, the hurt spell kind of overcomes the slightly worse weapon. And Tristal, I don't even think bothered with the town. He wants to get some, use up some of this MP before going into the town. He gets one shot on the Scorpion there for quick level 2 and 1 point away from level 3 already.
Yeah, I got the max roll there. It's 16 damage, and right behind him is going to be NESCardinality taking out a Poltergeist, and it looks like Tristal's going to do the same thing here.
It's pretty aggressive by Tristal because, like, he's risking losing the hand axe money here. And, you know, but he just wants to get some quick experience, not too worried about the money since they do have some good spells to work with. So, very interesting play by both runners, actually. It's not exactly what most people would do as a reflex, and I think I'm liking the play so far. Very aggressive by both players.
Yeah, you can see hurt more at any time, so, you know, you want to get those first couple of levels as quickly as you possibly can, just in case it's hurt more level 2, hurt more level 3, or something like that, or maybe even if you get some big HP gains, you can decide to immediately go back out on the map. But no, just going to go ahead and spend up that MP, and once he feels like he can't safely take anything out, he's going to go ahead and spend that gold, and with the gold that he earned is able to pick up some chainmail, so a quick armor advantage here on the side.
That's so interesting. He passed up on the hand axe to go with the lesser weapon, the Copper Sword, just so that he could also get the chainmail right away, which means he'll be defense breaking all the early zone enemies now, and you know, has a little bit of repelling opportunities if there's some fairy water nearby or something. So again, because of the spells they're starting with, he's going with a slightly unusual play that you wouldn't see most of the time. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, just looking at my notes here, with his 22 defense power, he is defense breaking everything that he would see in Zone 1, and that also includes Druins that you would only see, sorry, Zone 0 Druins you would only see in Zone 1 or Zone 2. And so pretty quickly here could be defense breaking some of the stronger enemies too if he can get closer to that 30 mark. So that's Chainmail going to make a big difference here in the early going.
And NESCardinality finds a Drakima, which is a really valuable enemy with this situation. That actually may have been in a different zone. He has already decided to go out onto the map a little bit to poke around, make sure that he gets a lay of the land, see if there's any towns and caves nearby. Still really just with the heal and hurt spells. And right now he's pretty much out of resources, so just kind of taking a look around before maybe walking through the swamp, take a death. Tristal finds a green dragon actually right near Charlock, which is close to home, so stepped a little bit out of the zone there and retraces steps, finds a Drakima. So yeah, both players playing this very well, making good use of the zones that are available and the spells that they have.
Yeah, and I like this. I don't know if that attack was intentional of TristalMTG, but it looks like he is already defense breaking the Drakima, only taking 1 damage there. Meanwhile, NESCard, I thought he was just going to take the kind of suicide walk, out of resources. Just wants to see what he can see and maybe go back to grinding. But no, one thing I do know about NESCardinality is one thing that makes him really nervous is anytime he's out on the map and he's got money for keys. Because if you find Rimildar just on some edge of the screen somewhere and you can make that walk, it's such a game changer to get keys early on. And so with the money that they have, I feel like the importance on exploration, sometimes that can pay off, sometimes it doesn't.
It's funny, this would be going even faster, but they're not getting a lot of MP very quickly. You can see on level 5 they only have 12 MP, so Tristal just had like an extended battle with a skeleton there, and all of a sudden is just out of MP. He has to go back to the inn before even getting to level 6. So they're kind of having to hop in and out of this town, try and get over to that zone 1 with the skeletons and the Drakima. NESCardinality is further along and runs into the green dragon, but gets away with only 25 agility. So there's a cave nearby, so yeah, lots happening. We see that they're near the eastern edge of the map, as you saw NESCardinality go a little bit northeast of the castle through that big swamp, and you can see the big flat edge of the map there. So it gives him a little bit of a chance to get his bearings in terms of his mapping. We know that NESCardinality draws his maps as he goes, so he'll have a good understanding now of where he is. And this Swamp Cave? He's gone through Swamp Cave to the other side.
And there indeed is a town right there on the other side. The Wraith's going to cast Hurt, but hopefully you can get away here and see what it is. And it's going to be Breckenary here, so could take a quick check of the weapon and armor shop if he wants to, could get himself a little bit of information. Not quite the town that he wanted to see, but at least he can check that off his list of important things that his opponent might have already found.
You see NESCardinality kind of taking a step up into a weird alcove there. Every once in a while that'll happen, because what he's doing is drawing the map that he saw when he first popped out of that cave while he's trying to get things done in the town. So it's kind of like, it's amazing to me the people that draw these detailed maps, that they can manage to do 2 things at once. So that's kind of what was going on there. And he already has the harp, of course, so we are going to grab the Staff of Rain out of this cave. So one of the quest items already in the books for NESCardinality, and moving on.
Was that also on the other side? So that's just north of Breckenary, right? On the second continent?
I believe so, yeah. And so it is a kind of a divergence here, as Tristal has decided to just grind a bit more on these metal scorpions. Are very valuable at this stage, and there's a couple of good enemies in this zone. I think the skeleton and the Drakima are around here. None of them seem to have very dangerous abilities, so instead of going way out on the map like we see NESCardinality doing, Tristal's just taking a few extra minutes to just get a couple more levels. Probably looking just for slightly better stats, a little more HP would be nice. He already has heal more, so just trying to get a quick level here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Tristal now with a slight exploration disadvantage, but a pretty big experience advantage. And I would say the most noteworthy thing about that right now is he's got the Heal More spell already, though that shouldn't take too long for NESCard to pick up for himself.
Yeah, what's interesting though is again, even on level 6, they have very low MP. So maybe one of the reasons why Tristal is continuing to grind here, because think about, even though you have all these great spells, including Heal More, you really can't expect to get too far out on the map with only 19 MP. You're just, you heal up once or twice, then you're just done. So I think he's hoping for like a really nice MP gain on the next level. If not, you can always learn Hurt More, or you can get a whole bunch of strength to make things a little easier on your MP usage. So, yeah, a little bit of a difference here as we see Tristal on the grind, and NESCardinality did a little bit of early exploration, so he's fallen a bit behind on the experience, but he's got a little bit more of the map covered already.
Absolutely does have more of the map covered, and yeah, the low MP is a good point. The agility is not too great either. Fortunately, I don't think NESCard's really run into anything that would give him too much trouble, although a green dragon does show up. He did see a werewolf on the other side of the swamp cave that sent him back, but I know that some strategies out there, I think Lorgon in particular tries to look for about 40 agility or so. I don't know if that's what's on Tristal's mind right now, but as he takes a hurt more from a scorpion.
I don't think we'd seen that yet, right? So that might be a 25%, surprise attack by the Scorpion there. They do have enough HP to withstand that. If you top yourself off, make sure you have full HP. The maximum hurt more damage is 45, and they have 49 max HP right now. So he was able to survive that and take down the Scorpion, but I'm sure he didn't appreciate seeing that. He'd rather stick to these skeletons and the metal scorpions that he's seeing over here.
Absolutely, and this skeleton here, I believe, is exactly enough to get him level 7, and that is indeed the case, and he's going to get here just 1 power, 5, 14. There's some more MP.
So NESCardinality has found what I think is a random zone. It's to the west of Charlock. First of all, it's desert tiles, which are faster encounters. He found a warlock there, but unfortunately there's red dragons here as well, so that's the end of that grind spot. But yeah, it's interesting if you want to get a little bit of an upgrade over what you see around the castle. Sometimes you want to stop and do a quick grind out on the map, but you have to have just the right enemies, and that time didn't work out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think he might have been looking for, if I remember right, Zone 1 is the spots north and south of Start. Zone 2 is the spots east and west of Start, and he might have just been looking for Zone 2, but based on the encounters that we have already seen, it's looking like Zone 1 might be just right below the castle, so he might need to go up and kind of duck into these mountains and settle for the forest tiles here if he does want to do a big grind for himself now.
We do see Tristal making his first steps out of the starting area now that he's achieved level 7. Level 7 didn't seem to grant them much. There was 1 extra power. He's got a few extra hit points. But he did finally get a little bit of an MP bump, double-digit MP gain, so he's got a few castings of heal and heal more and hurt and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, he's getting the wrong enemies, so all those spells don't matter much when you just get sent back home right away. But I think that makes sense for him to start exploring after getting a little bit of MP on that level. Of course, the levels are further apart from each other now. We have to get all the way to 600 experience points to get to level 8, so he figures it's time to get started here.
Yeah, there's not really any easy way to do that we've seen. We haven't seen any of the kind of beefier mid-game enemies that we would expect, like Droll Magi or Druid Lords or anything, or Specters or anything of that nature. Like, those are the enemies, or even Wolf Lords or even Wolves. None of those have been seen yet, and so it does start to get a little bit tougher once you get level 7 to keep getting those levels in quickly. So they're both going to pick up some experience here little by little as, Tristal is trying to get himself out on the map, and he's going to, fight the things that are in his way. But just trying to stick to one area and grind is going to take a while.
Yeah, I don't remember if we saw anything that was very valuable in the Swamp Cave, for example. I don't know if NESCardinality just cast outside to just shoot right through there or something. Yeah, but you're right. We haven't seen a very good zone outside of these initial monsters. The skeleton and the metal scorpion still seem to be kind of the best thing. Here's a wyvern, which is probably reasonable with the chainmail that Tristal has. kind of muting some of the damage that the Wyvern can do. He could probably out-heal this damage that he's taking. So this is a pretty valuable enemy. I'm kind of curious if he'll just stop here for a second and see if he can pick up a few more of these.
Yeah, these metal scorpions are really what you're gonna want to try to fight here. Although without that armor, oh, they got the regular dragon breath. That's pretty nasty. Unfortunately, he's got that heal and now that heal more spell to top himself off. Tristal, I believe, took out that wyvern, but yeah, the fun police out in full force today.
I wonder if that's the same zone that maybe NESCardinality saw a wyvern as well and was kind of looking for that, because that's probably the best enemy that they can reasonably expect to beat, and unfortunately the red dragon is in that same zone, so it makes some sense now. And Tristal just stepping in and out of town just to avoid taking 4 extra swamp damage to walk around the town there. So you're gonna have to do that every time you go south from the castle, I suppose, if you're worried about the damage. And he is going to find, I think this is Swamp Cave here, first time he's gone in this direction, so
yeah, so this will be the point at which, assuming he makes to the other side, which he should, I think NESCard just hit that outside spell immediately to get to the other side. Should have no problem. Oh, no, he is going to have to walk down to the south side. And once he does, he will find himself that Silver Harp Cave. Wow, a very smooth walk here. No enemies whatsoever.
Yeah, hero walk indeed for Tristal, and he's going to find the town nearby as well. Not sure if he's interested in the shop or just wants to take an end stop. He does have just a little bit of money with him, but maybe just wants to scout it out for later. There's a magic armor and a large shield available. Potentially, if there's a gold grind, we don't know, of course, since we haven't found keys, and so they haven't actually seen a lot of the locations that they're going to want to open and search. Sometime down the road. Mostly we've been just fighting and grinding because that's just kind of the nature of what they started with. Hurt more out of the Spectre, so one of those nice mid-game enemies that you were talking about is a little bit off limits right now. That they do have stop spell, so maybe you take a note of that for later and just try the stop spell against the Spectre or other enemies that might be nice. But
yeah, I hope that Tristal. I hope that Tristal tries that again at some point in the future, because they actually opened up with sleep. It did sleep, attack, and then hurt more, which means if he can land a stop spell on that thing, it's probably going to be pretty easy to take down, especially with his defense being, that much higher than NESCard's right now. And NESCard getting taken out by a green dragon may have been trying to go back to the opposite continent again. TristalMTG feels like he's seen the important things on the opposite continent, which is unfortunate because we know that he's going to have to go back there at some point. But he is deciding that he wants to check out, make sure he's seen all the first continent first.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about stop spell strategies in this game. So the monsters their abilities are randomized for any of our newer viewers here with this flag set, but their statistics are generally fixed with what they would normally have in the game. Their sleep resistance, their hurt resistance, that sort of thing. But one thing that is actually randomized in terms of stats is their stop spell resistance. So it's hard to know if that Spectre has any kind of resistance to stop spell until you try it a couple of times. Now, the weaker enemies will tend to have lower stop spell resistance than the stronger enemies on average. So it might be worth a try if he runs into one again, but yeah, you never know if it's going to stick.
Absolutely, and Tristal finding a rogue scorpion down in the desert and was using that hurt spell to try to whittle it down. Unfortunately, they have heal more, and so not able to take that one out. He did end up just running away and heading right back to town. An unfortunate waste of time and resources.
Yeah, but again, that's another one. When they have heal more, again, you could stop spell that as well in the future if he gets a nice... when he enters the battle with full HP, he could try a stop spell on that. Now, a Rogue Scorpion's probably still hitting him pretty hard, even though he has the chainmail. Rogue Scorpion's a bit tougher of an enemy, but yeah, all these enemies that pop up with spells, you may want to take note of that for later in case you want to try some alternate strategies. This Red Dragon, though, has been kind of out and about on the map near home, and kind of getting in the way of progress on several occasions for both runners here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meat grinder start here as they both basically have to make it through this desert if they want to get anywhere. Now, NESCard on the other side, the other continent, he does see himself a town. I believe this is his first time seeing a specter, which looks like it's the sleep is maybe only 50%. Here goes NESCard going to sleep. He does wake up. He's just going to go ahead and attack. Calculating the damage, knew that he had done enough to just punch it to death. Very heads up play here from NESCard, and now he's going to make a beeline for this town.
Yeah, just like that. Tristal had about a 100 to 150 point experience lead with that early grind, and NESCardinality has made up the difference, and it's now an even race in terms of experience, and NESCardinality has covered a bit more map. He gets another town here, it's Hawksness, which we'll note for later. It's got one of our 3 search spots, which may or may not have an important item. But yeah, a couple of those mid-game victories for NESCard, and he's pretty much caught up on experience.
Are you trying to tell me the nothing isn't important?
The nothing burger is occasionally what you find, but usually not what you're looking for. Tristal does seem to be wanting to just grab level 8 real quick while he's close to home on this the early zone here with the Metal Scorpions nearby. This one will give him level 8 if he's victorious. And he is. Let's see what we get.
5, 6, 12, and 5. A new spell. There it is. Hurtmore has been achieved. And this is going to start to speed up a little bit here. It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes NESCard to get to that same level and how much of an experience lead Tristal can build up in that time.
Yeah, and I feel like he is going to get it pretty quickly, especially if he's making the same decision to just stay with these Metal Scorpions for a couple of minutes, and he is. So that lead is going to be pretty inconsequential within a minute or so. NESCard should also have level 8 and Hurtmore. Tristal's going to fill up his MP here at the end so he can torch as many enemies as possible. Yeah, once you have Hurtmore, most enemies are on the menu, and it's time to go explore the map. So now it's all about survivability. He has 66 HP, which is not quite enough to withstand a Dragon Lord Breath attack. We haven't seen too many of those yet, but it could pop up on any monster at any time. He has some agility to work with, kind of, you know, you're at least 50-50 to run from most monsters now, so probably he's in pretty good shape to survive some extended ventures out onto the map here. Just wants to make sure he doesn't run out of MP too quickly, but if you can kill valuable monsters, pretty much you just go for it.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is a chance to maybe even check that swamp spike tile, because if that happened to be a Axe Knight or even an Armored Knight
tile right on the other side too, so you could get both of those checks in real quick now. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it could be it could be a useful play here. We'll have to see what NESCard does. Now he only a minute later has picked up Hurtmore for himself, and Tristal doesn't choose to use any spells. He doesn't need to. He gets a Kaishin no Ichigeki to take out this Truant and chop it up into 43 pieces.
Not too shabby, and so notably, Tristal does not check the spike tile in Swamp Cave. He wants to go cover a little bit of map on the other continent first. Sees the cave here that he hadn't been to yet. There is and he's going to go ahead and trade in his harp for the staff, so we're going to have pretty much equal items again. Notably, Tristal did get that chainmail early on, but yeah, that's basically the only difference there. Hawksness is just a bit to the north from here. If he finds that, now that he has Heal More and Hurt More, he may go check it out.
Absolutely, and noting here that we had NESCard going for the early exploration and Tristal going for the early levels, and now that Tristal has seen Hawksness, they're basically tied on information, and I think there's maybe a slight experience lead. I'm just waiting, just a slight experience lead for Tristal here, and 21 minutes into the seed, I mean, it was 15 minutes.
Did you see what just happened there? He noped out of Hawksness, but then he paused outside town for 5 or 10 seconds. So he was either just kind of drawing a map and noting locations or something, or he was like, should I go for the spike tile or should I not go for the spike tile? Because you would think that he does have the capability to defeat some of the monsters that he'd find there, but he decided, I want to go see what else is on this island first. It seems to be actually closing pretty quickly. I think he's covered just about the entire continent over here now.
Yeah, I think that must have been a decision because really with the stats so low here, really the only thing he can reasonably expect to take out that would be on that tile is an Axe Knight. An Armored Knight would be very likely to back attack him. Red Dragon's out. Blue Dragon is a very long shot. Golem and Stone Man are obviously completely off the table. So it's like what, a 1 in 6 if I named all the monsters correctly. So he says no. Let me just go explore the rest of this map, get a little bit more stats, see if I can find some more stuff.
I think he's actually seen the whole continent now. This is a dead end over here to the southwest. He wrapped all the way around this mountain range. I tried to look and see if there was something off to the east of Hawksness. I don't think there was. I think he's done with this island, and this Metal Scorpion will give him level 9 if he can survive the Fire Breath. He does. And he's just going to hurt more. Just good riddance. He's probably going to take an intentional Swamp Death here and just go home after achieving level 9. 29 power for level 9. Who needs a sword? You got fists. Oh, he's got a copper sword to work with. Yeah, he'll be able to use a lot more of his attack power now in the near future.
Absolutely, and synchronized deaths here. TristalMTG being taken out. I tried to run from the Blue Dragon, but was unsuccessful, unfortunately. And so now, pretty much looks like everything else that they need is going to be on this first continent here. And so again, that's information for TristalMTG that NESCard is probably going to want to go confirm for himself at a later date. So now the information advantage in TristalMTG's favor, the experience advantage also in TristalMTG's favor, is he is going to take out this green dragon and get himself that much closer to level 10. About a 320 so experience lead here, and it's going to grow even more.
I'm still amused by the minor detail. Almost at the exact same time, they both just popped into Garenham and popped out in order to just save on the swamp damage. I'm kind of curious at what point they're going to decide that they don't need to be doing that anymore. I don't know. I mean, it takes a few seconds to go in and out of town. But, alright, so let's see if NESCardinality is going through. I wonder if he'll check the spike tile either in Swamp Cave or in Hawksness. Looks like he is passing on the Swamp Spike for now. So he may end up just doing the same exploration loop all the way around the island that Tristal just did. We'll have to just see.
Yeah, and a few minutes ago, NESCard got some potentially important information for Sharlock. The Wizards have the Dragon Lord 2 Breath, a death that NESCard suffered just a few minutes ago. So that's one thing where, you know, when you see that wizard with DL2, you know, we have that repel in dungeons flag
Stoneman
now.
also with the DL2 breath.
Oh dear.
So another Charlock enemy to make note of for the later portion of the rounds here. And Tristal manages to pick up the large shield. I didn't realize he had accumulated that much gold, so that's a nice pickup to go with the chainmail. And once you have heal more and hurt more, quite honestly, like, he may not really go shopping anymore unless, you know, it gets to the end and just he knows that Erdrick's sword is in Sharlock or something.
Indeed, that'll be a decision we'll have to wait and see on. Taking out those green dragons was quite lucrative and paid off for him in the form of that large shield. But just go back to a point that I was making earlier. You know, you see those wizards with the Dragon Lord 2 Breath, and we've got the repel and dungeon flags now this year in this tournament. And you have to wonder if there's a gold grind available, even if it comes kind of late. Do you consider doing the gold grind to try to get yourself enough defense so that you could bring Fairy Water or cast Repel and not have to worry about seeing those wizards at all?
Yeah, and honestly, to jump on what you're talking about there, another factor is if it gets later and later into the seed and you haven't found Erdrick's armor yet, and it's starting to look like the armor is in Sharlock, it starts to become really reasonable to gold grind, let's say, for the magic armor. Just so that you can make that dive in there and actually get to the Erdrick's armor eventually. Because, you know, it used to be that eventually you would just find Erdrick's armor, no problem. So maybe you would pass on a gold grind in the late game. But sometimes now, even in the late game, like you said, you might want to boost that defense however you can. And I think we saw the magic armor in the nearby town. I don't think we've seen a silver shield. We haven't actually seen many towns yet, right? So
Yeah, we up to now we've only seen Garenham, and we saw the magic armor in Brecconary, and with that silver shield purchase, or the large shield purchase, definitely no silver shield in Garenham. So yeah, they're gonna have to find some more towns to potentially really motivate themselves to a gold grind. Really want to see a silver shield first.
It's starting to feel like they've covered a lot of empty space now, right? There's still a lot of things that they need to find, and they've been walking around this map now for a while. I mean, we've seen Charlock, we've seen the Staff Cave, we've seen like 2 towns. Hawksness is there eventually. I'm surprised neither runner has attempted the Hawksness spike tile yet. But yeah, there's still plenty of towns and caves. No major dungeons have been moved through yet. Rimuldar has not been sighted. They don't have keys. Yeah, still have a lot to do. We're near a half an hour in. I kind of wonder if both runners are starting to feel like, man, I still have a lot to do here.
Yeah, indeed. I don't think Tristal can know right now that the lead that he's got over NESCard. I think it really. I think a big chunk of that comes down to getting those green dragons,
Oh,
because
I don't
he's
know if
got
you
in.
mentioned it before. The wizard with DL2 breath. Is that the one you saw before?
Yeah, that was the one I saw before, which is
Okay.
why I was making that point
Yeah,
about
because
do you
so it's
want to.
wizards and stone men for Charlock now. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brutal.
do you want to pick up that silver shield even if it's late in the seed, so that you don't potentially see them in Charlock?
Yeah, you only need 80 defense to get rid of the wizards with repel on. Unfortunately, it takes about, 100 defense to get rid of the stone man, so we shall see how that goes later. Look at this little area of map that Tristal's wading through. The maps have become more and more interesting over the years, in my opinion. Bunch of bridges and swamplands, and he's already on low MP here. I feel like the MP stat has lagged the whole way, and it's causing them to kind of run into some issues before actually making it to the next destination.
Tristal getting some pretty bad encounter luck there. I think he got 4 encounters in 4 steps, but has managed to make it out to a new portion of the map. It looks like the map pretty much goes in one direction, and I do believe he is in the grave. I wasn't quite able to track those movements.
It looked... Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we are. You are absolutely right. So there's 3 quick chests here.
Ooh!
And unfortunately, if there's no key, which NESCardinality has found the town where you can buy keys, but Tristal will have to settle for not going down below until he finds keys. Interesting divergence here. Erdrick's token has been found, though, so one of the items was in the top 3. But NESCardinality about to buy some keys, and he'll have a lot more access in the near future.
Yeah, unfortunately, picking up Erdrick's Jabate, you kind of hope that it might be the sword, you hope that it might be the armor, and even though you do need that token, it's nothing that you want to see at this point in the seed. And yeah, if you're trying to think of who might feel behind, who might feel where they are, Tristal doesn't know it. He's got a huge experience lead, and NESCard doesn't know it, but he's actually the first to find keys. So they're both kind of having something that the other wishes they had, but they both probably feel a little bit behind
right now. So here's
the
third shop, and it also doesn't really have any big ticket items. There was, I think, maybe a broadsword and a full plate or something to that effect. NESCardinality making sure to check that because he hadn't seen anything good in the other shops yet, so he wanted to check what was in Rimuldar. Just in case there is a gold grind, of course. Next time he gets sent home, he'll be able to check the treasury now that he has keys, and we'll get to see if there is gold in the treasury. So he wanted to make a note of what was in the shop, but really nothing yet to buy. We might have to find Garenham, which has 3 shops all in one town, to find anything really worthwhile.
Absolutely. So a bit of a slow start here as the enemies right outside proved to be a little bit too tough to handle. Hurtmore coming at level 8, but unfortunately a lot of enemies on the map that Hurtmore isn't terribly effective on have lagged the exploration a little bit. And here we are.
What makes it a little slow sometimes too is one of the spells that they haven't learned yet is Repel, which I always find to be a little frustrating. You get all these spells, and look at how many hills Tristal has to walk through here. High encounter rate, and you're not repelling anything. So sometimes that makes things drag a little bit slower, but yeah, he's about out of resources. He's desperately looking for a town, just can't find one.
Well, right now he would
check it out.
Right now, he would only be up to Druin Lord in terms of repelling things. Speaking of repel, there's a fairy water. And this was in that first chest. Stones of Sunlight picked up here and some money as NESCard goes to check the basement.
Yeah, gold in the top left and in the bottom right. So gold grind is available. And, NESCard hasn't cleared the dungeons yet. So as soon as he finds a dungeon, he can set himself up a gold grind if he finds anything in these shops that's worth grinding for. So, yeah, the basement, it could be a few different things. I don't think we've seen Rainbow Drop Cave. We're still looking for Garen's Grave. Tablet Cave could be back here.
We have the Mountain Cave based on the movements here, and so that's going to be 5 quick checks here for NESCard. Although, one thing of note, if there's gold down here, he should be able to get a gold grind going. I think he needs to open up 2 more chests. But if there is not a gold chest down here, it's gonna take some extra thought and extra trip to trigger that gold grind. So for Tristal, he may choose at some point to go dive the bottom of the grave. NESCard still has to find the grave, so that's one way he could choose to. Oh, baby.
Yeah, and the one thing that he did see in the shop was magic armor, which is in moot now that he has just found Erdrick's armor in a chest within the dungeon here. So I expect NESCardinality to not bother with any sort of gold grinding here because he just hasn't seen anything to grind for, and the map is not 100% survivable yet. So it's not like you can just grab a bunch of money and walk around indefinitely right now. And he also won't probably go through the trouble to reset up the grind. Like you said, the chests have already been opened, so he'd have to exit the castle and then re-enter the castle and then come back into the dungeon and open the chests in order to go back to the treasury. So I don't think he'll do any of that right now, but he has triggered the gold grind the reverse way, so he is going to just take the opportunity to grab a little bit of money. Not sure how much he's going to go for. Maybe you could just go for Flamesword money here, even though you haven't seen one. Not sure. I'm very interested to see what he plans to do here.
I'm very interested to see as well. So just not even 4 minutes behind NESCard, Tristal has found himself keys as well. So he'll be able to get all of this same information here shortly. And we do see NESCard. He's going past that Flamesword money, getting towards that Silver Shield money. No Silver Shield seen yet. We'll see if he goes for the full, I think it's 36,000 you want to go to get every single thing.
Because he has the armor. But yeah, it would take 25 grand to get sword and shield money. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's doing.
Very interesting play here is there's no guarantee he's going to be able to hold on to that money until he finds a town to spend it in.
Yeah, and he hasn't seen either of those items in any of the 3 shops, so yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble here. He's hoping that his survivability is high enough now that he can just, count on not having a problem. They at some point recently they got a good agility bump. You see that stat is in the orange now, so you can actually count on maybe sometimes running away even from those red dragons that we saw on the map every once in a while. The HP is such that you could withstand 1 Dragon Lord Breath attack, so yeah, I mean, he could survive for a while, but we'll see. He doesn't even bother saving, I don't believe, so yeah, just gonna grab the large shield for now that he saw earlier, and he's off and running.
I wonder if he never...
as well, you might as well.
Yeah, I was almost wondering if maybe he never checked the shop, but that wouldn't be the case. He definitely would have checked the shop before to pick up that copper sword. And so an interesting play here is Tristal finds Cantland.
We also have a back door here to be explored. It was right near start, and so NESCard's going back here as Tristal is going to check out Cantland.
Yeah, I missed that first shop. Go ahead and checking the second shop here, and we just see another magic armor there. Nothing too terribly interesting. I don't think there is anything terribly interesting in the back of Garenham either. Does choose to drop the belt for the torch.
Wings and a torch. I didn't see the middle chest there, but don't see anything marked off on the tracker, so we are going to the back as Tristal maybe goes for coordinates. So bonus cave in the back of Garenham just has an extra key, replacement key. And let's see if we have coordinates today.
Yeah, I missed the final shop there, so not sure if Betastrap confirming that there is no Silver Shield. Our last stop's going to be in Cole. And oh my goodness, those coordinates! I think that
Yeah.
is a but thou must.
Yeah, and you know, they know where Swamp Cave is already, and it's not that far out of the way. And they haven't even checked that spike tile, which could be useful for grinding. So yeah, I mean, I think the obvious play is to just go grab that princess pretty quickly. Probably, you know, after he's done with this Garanham raid, he's gonna go get the 4 chests that he can access here. And then, you know, if I'm Tristal, I'm probably going right for the Swamp Cave to get the princess. Maybe it's an Axe Knight on that tile. It's a good thing to know for the future, anyways. So, yeah, we'll see how he wants to play it, as NESCard is in a dark place. Hurt Mooring, Star Wyvern.
This is interesting because Tristal is kind of following in NESCard's footsteps here now, finding Garanham. He's going to go ahead and, or sorry, not finding, going back to Garanham, going to check the back. But he hasn't been to Tantegel Basement yet. He hasn't found that armor, and the longer it takes him to pull that, to do that, the longer he's going to go without having that armor, but likely to do it here shortly.
I guess NESCard must not have checked the Breckenary shop the first time through, because he was checking that out. There's just nothing there for him. While he's over here, I really wonder if he now is going to go for the Hawksness spike, even though he's carrying all this money around. So that's one of those decisions. It's a little bit tough sometimes. If you get the wrong enemy on the spike tile, you're in danger of dying and losing half your gold. So he is going that direction.
He is going that direction. He may hope that the token or the sword is there. We know the token is not. The sword could be. It could also be the flute. It could be the death necklace. And, of course, it could be that most useful item, the nothing. But we'll just have to wait and see what's there and whether or not he can even reasonably fight it. It still could be a red dragon. They're not going to get through that at this point.
Interestingly, Tristal decided to go in the other way around. He went and did the Garanham trip first before checking out the Tentacle Treasury. And now he is in Mountain Cave. So a lot of the same stuff that NESCardinality did a few minutes ago, Tristal's getting this out of the way as well. NESCard still needs to find the grave in order to get the token, and that's pretty much the difference. He's trying to get over to that spike tile. He's getting bombarded by these weak enemies here. Still no repel spell available, so they just have to take what they can get.
3-1-3-1 is level 11. Pretty much garbage. Throw that one back as Tristal makes his way down here through the mountain cave. Will pick up his armor with only 4 chests picked up. He may not trigger a gold grind. It depends on whether or not he goes for that bottom chest first. And so may miss out on that opportunity to pick himself up some money. And oh, there it is.
And the ambush too. Now he does have heal more, so he should be able to survive for a few turns here. He's got 3 castings of heal more at his disposal. I expect he's probably just trying to run away with 84 attack power. This is going to be pretty difficult to win this fight. He is not running away, so...
He has to go for it. He's only on 66 agility. His best bet to keep his... What? The hero run!
Yeah, he probably didn't know exactly what his attack power was. He hasn't checked his own stat window in a while, so he took a swing or two and was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to take this guy down here, so... Just went with the 1 in 3 chance of running away, and it worked out. So he's got the money for just a little longer.
My goodness, that's incredible. And yeah, missing out on the gold grind here is TristalMTG. Now, we know that there is nothing here on this opposite continent. I'm not sure if NESCard had already explored this or not.
Oh, so he didn't.
But he is heading back
into the throne room. Is that what happened? He just went straight across.
Yeah, because he didn't die.
Into the throne room, you can trigger the 3 extra chests there. So this one will be glitched, I think. But
it's red.
Not. Yeah. So this is the 9th chest. And I don't know what was there. It was either a key or an herb, I guess. And he's out of there. He is probably not very concerned about gold grinding generally. He already has Urgix armor and the large shield. So it probably wasn't that big of a deal to him to miss out on that. You know, he's going to want to at least upgrade to like a broadsword. He gets the hand axe just for good measure here. We still don't know what the other spike tile is, but if you're stuck trying to grind that red dragon in Hawksness, and for some reason Erdrick's sword is in Sharlock, you're gonna want some sort of a weapon, like better than that copper sword that they were carrying up for all that time. So, yeah. So he didn't get the gold grind going for that purpose just yet, but down the road, like you said, he may end up wanting to dive the grave, and that will be another opportunity later.
Indeed, and now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. As I do believe there are only 4 locations outside of Sharlock that have not been checked, if I am not mistaken. So we have the Overworld spot, we have Hawksness, and then we have the bottom 2 chests of the grave. Those are the last 4 locations for the sword. And of course, Tristal, with all 3 of the quest items that he needs, just needs to find that old man cave somewhere out on the map. And so he's hoping that these lead to the sword.
Look at this race. They're separated by less than 100 points. NESCard still needs to pop through the top of the grave to pick up the token, but I mean, this is fairly even here. It's just a great race. They're both playing really well. We do have the blue dragon on the princess tile. And remember, those coordinates are still out there, Lavkin. That could be the sword. So now Tristal is using Hurtmore strats to try to take down the blue dragon, and finishes it off, I think, with the hand axe. Doesn't go for the princess. I am scratching my head over that one, but
I think he's not. He's got the outside spell, so yeah, interesting that he chooses
I do not
not
understand
to,
that one. Yeah, I mean,
interesting he chooses not to grab the princess.
He hasn't, I guess, seen Hawksness yet. Wants to maybe take care of that first. There's an inn over here he could use. Yeah, so if he goes and gets Hawksness, in his mind, if he actually beats what's there, which that might be a tall order because we know it's a red dragon. But if he beats what's there and like the sword is there, then he doesn't have to bother with the princess, right? But I mean, you may want to at least get her and just carry her around, which you see some runners do sometimes. Like, you don't have to go home with her right away. I don't know. Interesting. Just check the spike tile, saw it was a blue dragon, and just noped out of there. No princess yet.
Indeed, no princess yet. One thing of note, though, if Tristal can get there with full resources, I think he's got a shot at this. Now, it would be nice if you had a broadsword, not a hand axe. So we've got synchronized text boxes here. It'd be nice to have a broadsword and not just a hand axe. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. But full resources there doing, 10 to 15 damage or so on that red dragon. If it rolls low on its max HP, they've got 6 heal mores. I think it's possible.
I didn't get a good look at the Cantlin shops, if there's a broadsword there, or even a flame sword, but I think there was a broadsword in Rimmildar, but I don't even know if Tristal checked that shop, so... he's en route to Hawksness, though. He's going to see if he can take down the spike tile. This Demon Knight will give him level 12, so maybe he will get a bunch of power and actually have a chance against the red dragon here. Let's see what he gets. 2 power. That's probably not enough, but...
Well, the agility and HP are nothing to sneeze at, because that's going to significantly cut down the damage that the red dragon does, and the HP is going to give a little more survivability. So I think he's got I think now, he doesn't get a lot of power. It's not going to speed the fight up, but it's a
heal mores to work with. I feel like this is actually close. Like, yeah, it'll come down to the last hit, because he's doing like 13 damage at the time. He's got 5 heal mores. Yeah, let's see. Maybe he'll get him. Interesting. NESCard doing some sort of loop, finds himself back in Breckenary again. So that's second continent, right? So is he retrying the Hawksness tile now that he got some stats? Interesting play here. They both are making very similar decisions. It is the Death Necklace, Lavkin. So those coordinates now, I think, have to be the sword? Is that...
They can still be the flute.
Oh, the flute hasn't been found. Good. Good eyes. Yep. Yeah, so it's the sword or the flute. Very good.
And we still haven't found Cole yet, so one more search spot yet to be found. And so, the odds are now that the sword is in Sharlock. It's about, I think, 4 out of 13, 4 out of 11 that it's on the world map, 7-11 that it's in Sharlock. So But still a lot of due diligence yet left to
I think
do.
that Tristal already was over here. So here's a little bit of a mapping difference. We know NESCardinality draws really good maps. I'm 100% sure that Tristal already went over here earlier in the race. So yeah, interesting there. So that's a little bit of time just walking around on the map. But he, again, instead of going back through to Breckenary and then back into Swamp Cave to get the princess, he now has cast Return and is going to go do something else. No princess for Tristal, even though he has those coordinates already.
Indeed. Yeah, gonna probably want to head back towards that Swamp Cave and take out that blue dragon and grab that princess. Maybe wanted to just get Hoxus out of the way before making what is likely to be a long and arduous trek. Even with that Graylin positioning system, you still have to make the walk.
That's a good point. It's a long ways. There's red dragons all over the place. I think they're surviving pretty well now, but I mean, there's a good chance the sword is just sitting there, and that's the last thing they need.
It is a pretty good chance. But it's 181 steps, and that's that's assuming you can go straight down and straight right. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that. So
NESCardinality also defeated the red dragon in Hawksness and got the death necklace, and now runs into another red dragon on the overworld and decides he's going to fight this one also. Even though they did get good agility, they can run from this enemy now occasionally. You're almost 50-50 to run, but he's deciding to basically use all of his resources and just get him on the overworld here. Gets the excellent move, so saves a little bit on the MP. And yeah. I think, did he just take the lead with that victory? No, it's like virtually tied, guys. This is such a good race.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. I think that, I like this decision from NESCard. When you're out on the map at this point in the seed, I mean, NESCard's got pretty much two reasons not to just run from this thing. The first is he's still carrying all that money, doesn't want to risk losing it to multiple run failures. The other is you just want the experience at this point. I mean, they're worth so much. You're so late into the seed. Every little bit of experience that you can get out on the map is less experience you need once you got everything put together.
So a couple of advantages that Tristal has. He knows the coordinates. I believe NESCardinality has not found Caitlin for the coordinates yet. And he also, I think, is still looking for the grave. And I can't remember where that was, but somehow he hasn't found it. So he still doesn't have the token. He has more, potential search spots and chests that he needs to open. So he can't narrow things down quite as well as Tristal can right now. I feel like Tristal, almost one of the only things he has left to do is to go get that overworld spot. So, all right, what cave is this? Oh, he's found the Rainbow Drop Cave, so let's take care of this task as well. So Tristal with a bit of exploration advantage over NESCardinality right now, and the experience lead is still pretty even.
Indeed, I do believe, I'm not terribly certain, but I do believe in order to get to the grave, you have to go pretty far south and east, and there's kind of like a one small thin piece of land that you go through between some mountains and some water, and you got to follow that for a ways. So it could be a while before NESCard finds that grave. I'm almost wondering if you might have to go that way to also find the search spot, but that could be pretty tough here. So the longer this goes, I'm honestly surprised that we haven't seen Tristal go back to that swamp cave yet and grab that princess, although they experience now 16 power.
Ooh, we're getting close now to go time stats. 87 strength is getting up there. The MP is still lagging a bit, but he did get a pretty good bump there. So we're getting close, and he's still... I'm trying to think from Tristal's perspective, what hasn't he found? I think the tablet cave maybe is still out there somewhere. He's still looking for coal for that search spot. He's got the bottom two chests in the grave that he knows where that is. He's saving them for later. And then you have the overworld spot. Is there anything else that he's missing?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it, unless he decides that he does indeed want to try to dive the grave, although at this point he'd have to find it. Meanwhile, here is coal for NESCard. This could be huge.
And one more check for Silver Shield. There's no Silver Shield available, but he gets a valuable upgrade to the Broadsword. And it's going to check the Spike now, or the search spot.
And we have confirmation that the sword is on the map,
Yep.
as we have every other search spot item. NESCard doesn't know it yet. The odds are that it would be in Charlock, and advantage Tristal is the faster that he can decide to go grab this princess, the faster that he can search out these
Yeah.
coordinates. This might be Cole for him right now.
He'll know. If he finds Cole, and he's actually back in Cantlin now, maybe for a weapon upgrade. But he's looking around on the map for things that he hasn't found yet, and I think the thing that would really help him is if he finds Cole before he finds, you know, like the tablet cave or decides to redive the grave or something. Because once he gets Cole and he sees that the flute is there, he'll know that he has to go to the overworld spot for the sword. Whereas NESCardinality still has too many places where, you know, where things can be right now.
Looks like a tablet cave here for NESCard, as he's going to go ahead and bravely make his way through this cave in the dark. I think the only useful thing that could be down here is the ring, and maybe hoping that the sword's going to be here, but we up here in the commentator's booth know it cannot be there, and it's just a torch. I do believe that puts the ring either at the bottom of the grave or in Charlock.
Yeah, a little less brave when you do have the outside spell. If you get horribly lost, at least you can outside your way out. But we all know that NESCardinality is able to do that cave really well, no matter what. He'll go in, you know, no matter the situation. Very good skill there. There was, what was it, a torch? So yeah, yeah, that's just one more place that NESCardinality has checked off on his list, but he still has a few things to find. And Tristal, really, if he just finds Cole, he's on his way.
Indeed, as soon as Tristal finds Cole and searches and finds that fairy flute, he's going to know that his next destination is that overworld map tile, and he will have the advantage there. He's got... Every time I want to see he's got an advantage in XP, NESCard kills a red dragon and neutralizes it, so...
And I was thinking for a second about potential choice for the grind with the blue dragon or the red dragon, but honestly, like, they might be at go time before they get all the stuff at this point. I mean, we could reasonably have a level 14 go here, and they're still looking for stuff.
They would need a pretty big power boost to get it, as with the MP being as low as it is, they'd need about 140 or more attack power to go at that point.
Yeah, they're almost there already, though.
127, like I said, they would still need a pretty big boost in attack power. They're looking at 127 with the sword, no ring. So it would need to be a pretty big boost in the next couple of levels or so in order to make it, or big MP boosts, or a little bit of both. So could still be a long ways off, or it could come in the next level. We'll just have to wait and see.
And we see Tristal now also fighting Red Dragon, so they've both realized now that these are on the table. They are worth 255 each, and it's a little bit of an extended battle, but it's not totally resource crushing the way it was, you know, back on level 11 or so, when they, you know, had a hard time even defeating one of them on the Hawksness Spike. Uses maybe 1 or 2 heal mores, takes it down for 255. We would much rather run into the green dragon, though, or we just get a quick hurt more and occasionally take it down in one hit, or you just finish it off with your weapon, unless it dodges, in which case you swing again and you take him down.
Absolutely, and now I can safely say that Tristal does have a slight lead of 300 experience, but it is going to come down to, do they still need to grind by the time they find that sword and get themselves in grind and go mode? And while they work on that, just going to keep exploring the map here.
And it feels unusual for one player to have found something. Like, Tristal found the grave a really long time ago, and NESCard, I feel, has been all over the place, and somehow has still not gone into the grave. Just is, I don't know if it's one of those rare cases where it's like in the middle, where you're like following coastlines and you just miss it, like in both directions. I didn't catch where it was when Tristal got in there, but somehow NESCardinality just hasn't found it. Back in Cantlin yet again is Tristal. Need some resources, takes an in stop. He's about 400 points away, give or take, from level 14. And they do have Repel now, notably, so you see that NESCardinality is walking out quite a long ways with no encounters now. So this will make finding the locations that he needs quite a bit easier. Here's a bit of an issue. He doesn't have the token yet, so he's going to have to make a note of the Rainbow Drop Cave and come back here later, whereas Tristal was able to get there, you know, turn those items in as soon as he found it. And Tristal making the interesting play of diving into Sharlock, maybe looking for the sword or just, you know, getting some experience / intel. But I'm wondering if he forgot that he hasn't actually checked out the coordinates, because he got those coordinates a while ago now, has had a couple of opportunities to rescue the princess and declined it, and has been looking for other places like coal and that sort of thing. Now he finds himself in Sharlock. I don't know, I'm very interested in this sequence of events here. He's one reasonable victory away from the next level, and he's scouting out what's in the various zones here in Sharlock. Man, NESCardinality is really on searching all the corners of the map here. He's up somewhere on the north edge with these narrow little peninsulas, just finding every nook and cranny. Where are these towns and caves? We know that he needs to find Garen's grave because the token is sitting there on the top. He's also still looking for Erdrick's sword, which can be in a number of different places from his perspective. I don't know if NESCardinality's even been into Cantlin yet, so even if he wanted to rescue the princess, there wouldn't really be any reason to without actually knowing what the coordinates are yet. So yeah, NESCardinality's still got some work here, having a little bit of rough luck with the map exploration randomness here. He's really been absolutely everywhere, and he doesn't tend to retrace his steps very often because he does draw really good maps as he goes. He has full cleared this particular region, so he casts a return. He's going to try and find somewhere else on the map that he hasn't been to yet. Declines the in stop. He's just going to keep going with 22 MP at his disposal. And Tristal is most of the way through the top zone. This stairway will take him to a new enemy set within Sharlock. He's going further down.
Wow, so I had to step away for a moment. It looks like Tristal decided to dive for the sword. This is a pretty wild play.
It is interesting. I'm just wondering if he just forgot that he has gotten the coordinates, but hasn't actually, you know, been to the spot on the map yet. You know, sometimes you write down the coordinates, and then it's like, after a while, it's like you look over there on your paper. Yeah, those were the coordinates. I remember that. But you never actually went and you know, search the spot. I don't know, because at some point, like, something has to be there, right? If the old man doesn't give coordinates at all, then nothing's there. But if he gives any sort of coordinates, then some item has to be there. And the only things that he hasn't found are the sword and the flute. So instead, he's going to try and get to the bottom to search all of the treasure chests in the Sharlock Treasury. Has made pretty good progress, actually. Still has some MP to work with. He's trying to conserve by fighting through some green dragons. He's getting some pretty good experience on this journey, so it's not a lost cause or anything. And he's going to go upstairs first, just to see what's up in the judge's table chest, so... A lot of fun, interesting plays by both runners here. Yeah, NESCardinality Lavkin, he has been all over the place. Like, I can't believe how much map he's actually walked. He just can't find the things that he's looking for.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate here in this particular situation, as Tristal getting level 14 got 32 hit points and 7 power. And so with that sword, he would with the sword, he would have 131 attack power. With that Death Necklace, he'd have 141 attack power, and this would basically be a done deal.
Yep.
He just
It's
needs
go
to
time.
find that sword, and it's absolutely go time.
It did take a pretty big level, like you said, but yeah, we got everything we needed right there. And NESCardinality also gets 14, so the experience is still pretty close. And man, I'll tell you what, one of the worst feelings when you're racing this game is when you can beat the Dragon Lord and there are still several places that you haven't found. In NESCardinality's case, he still can't find Garen's grave. Don't know that he's actually been into Cantlin. Yeah, it's brutal. He's going to have to revisit the Rainbow Drop Cave after acquiring the token. That was way up on the other side of the map. And I think he's got it now. Here is the grave.
Yep, that's going to be the token for NESCardinality, but he's still got one more thing to do. He's still got to find Cantlin, still got to pick up those coordinates, unless he did it while I was away.
And by the way, NESCardinality will probably dive the grave because he'll still be looking for the sword, and there's no real good reason to believe that it's not down there from his perspective. Now, Tristal should know that he doesn't have to do it because he has the coordinates in his pocket. He knows something has to be over there on the map. But NESCardinality, I don't think, has that information, so he's going to take some extra time and go further down into the dungeon here. Yeah, interesting race. They had kind of started off for the first 45 minutes doing a lot of the same things, like slightly different order, but it was sort of like neck and neck. They had the same items and that sort of thing, and now, like, vastly different experiences. We have NESCardinality just really trying to find locations on the map. We have Tristal diving into Sharlock. Oh man. And it seems like they'll probably come back together in the end, and they'll be right next to each other, you know? We'll have to see what happens. So I'm assuming Tristal actually did make it upstairs. He is going to get the fighter's ring for his troubles, so that's +2. He already had go time stats, so it's not too consequential, but you never know. If he needs to burn a heal more on the way down or something, it's nice to have 2 more attack power. But yeah, he found the chest upstairs, and now he's cleared all the chests downstairs, and no sword. He is... she should know what's going on at this point. Probably going to continue fighting enemies for experience while checking out the spike tile now, guarding the Dragon Lord, which we call the mini boss, since you have to beat it in order to get to the Dragon Lord. And what's interesting is both players are continuing to fight all their encounters, even though they have the stats to win. So, like, what does an extra level do for you other than just a little insurance? You know, just in case it's a rough Sharlock or something. But yeah, neither one of them have resorted to, you know, run away from everything strats. They're still taking encounters, fighting enemies, and you know, just continuing to play through the seed. NESCard has the token, and I think is trying to get all the way back to the other side where the Rainbow Drop Cave is. Gonna take a pit stop in Rimuldar real quick, get some MP. Yeah, a little discussion in chat about whether or not NESCard has actually seen Cantlin, and
well, now he has.
yeah, it was just right there. He was at Rimuldar really pretty early on, and it was just barely off screen from Rimuldar. So, yeah, that's just one of those things. He had taken a death shortly after exiting Rimuldar and ended up doing the whole sequence of checking the treasury and all that stuff. Now, once he had keys, just didn't really come back this way. So, yeah, now he's finally going to get the information about the coordinates, and he's already been to Cole. So I think that he will know for sure that the sword is there. And he has now checked every shop for the silver shield. He still has all that money, by the way. Or at least, maybe he died once and he has about half the money. But, yeah, because he never got the flame sword. Looks like he's still on the broadsword. So with these coordinates, I think NESCard will go ahead and go for the Princess Rescue. He may want to try and swing by Rainbow Drop Cave first if it happens to be closer to where he is right now. That's why maybe we're not seeing him cast Return right away. But he has caught up in terms of exploration while Tristal's been gallivanting through Charlock here. Level 15 now for Tristal. Is going to have 5 more power and a whole bunch of MP. What are they waiting for? He might be trying to win with the broadsword at this point. Like, maybe he just won't go get the Erdrick sword, right? So now he's got 117 MP. Let me see what we're looking at here.
No, he absolutely could win here if he put on the Death Necklace. He'd be looking at 128 attack power, and with 14 heal mores, he could definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's continuing to fight. I don't know if he's trying to take a death here. Got a couple of extra. I mean, now I guess you just go to try and win the game with the broadsword, right? I mean, that is a crazy level up. Both of these level ups have been pretty absurd, right? These last 2 levels. Yeah, he's going to take a close look now. He does have the Death Necklace. He found that in the Hawksness Spike. I mean, let's go, right? No need for the princess. No need to walk all the way across the map for that item. Go in with the broadsword. Oh my goodness, what's happening here? Did he see a flame sword somewhere?
I don't remember seeing a flame sword anywhere, but that does seem to be what he's going for here. And NESCard's got the princess. He's got the coordinates. He's going to go ahead and pick himself up that sword, and it's going to be completely free. Whereas for Tristal, if he were to go right now, it would be fairly close. You'd want more than 120 MP to feel safe at this point.
If he can get the flame sword, then he's all set. I just don't know that I saw one. Maybe he knows where one is, and we just didn't catch it. He obviously grinded for the flame sword, and it's just hoping that it's somewhere. Maybe he didn't actually check all the shops yet. He's got a couple of shops in mind where, like, oh, maybe I'll swing by, whatever town on the way and just see if it's there. And if it's not, then I'm just going to go for it anyways, kind of thing, I don't know. A lot of interesting things happening on Tristal's side over the last 10 minutes. And Charlock is right there. I mean, it's just right there. Oh, and he's not going in. Wow. Okay, this gives NESCardinality a chance, and he's got the sword, guys. It was way down on that second continent, right near the exit to Swamp Cave. Beautiful play there. Uses the GPS, I assume, and he is in go mode. And he's going to just go straight in right now. It's just right next to this town. So NESCardinality is about to just basically walk right by Tristal and head into Charlock.
And just like that, potentially a mental error on the part of TristalMTG, NESCard is going to enter Charlock here at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 35 seconds. And
I mean, I could have sworn that Tristal checked all 3 of these shops before. I mean, I'm maybe looking specifically for the Silver Shield and didn't look very closely for the Flame Sword, but I think he checked all these shops. Maybe it was NESCardinality that was checking the shops, but I don't think so.
No, we definitely saw Tristal check these shops before, but this could be a case of the seed just getting to him, the pressure just getting to him, as, remember, we did see him go and kind of paint that second continent a second time. And so maybe, it's just nerves settling in and the pace of the seed settling in. And unfortunately, with the attack power being what it is, I mean, these red dragons might have something to say about it, but this is basically NESCard's race to lose.
Yeah, I mean, he is all set here. He's only got the 83 MP that we had on level 14. I don't know that he's even still bothering to fight his way to 15 at this point with the sword. He should know that he's got the stats. Now it is just a matter of getting down there now, and 82 agility, it's decent, but there are red dragons in here, so it's not totally over yet, but you're right. I mean, huge advantage here for NESCard. He's got the stats. If he can get down there, he's a very big favorite.
Indeed, with right now with his 131 attack power, he'd want a little bit more MP to feel on the safe side, but once he throws on that Death Necklace, as long as he's got all his resources, it's basically going to be a done deal. And so as he makes his way down, he is past the switchback floor and will be headed down towards the U-shaped floor shortly. That final zone, really the only thing that could stand in his way.
There are red dragons here as well. I mean, it is actually kind of close though, right? Once you throw on the Death Necklace, your HP gets down to the point where there's not a lot of wiggle room, there's no double attacks. You're working with 10 heal mores and 141 attack power. I mean, you are a favorite, but things can go wrong with the DL1 fight. I mean, there are scenarios, right, where things can go wrong here. So NESCardinality is taking every way possible by, using flute strats to make sure he can run from golems. He's doing everything he can to conserve those herbs and just, give himself the best chance to win here. And Tristal's going in.
Tristal going in here with the broadsword. It's possible, but he's not a favorite, and he would need every single heal more that he has to do it. And question in chat, 9 to 10 swings with the Death Necklace. It could definitely be done in, I would say, 8 would be the minimum you could do it, or maybe even 7 if you got all max rolls. But we're looking at 10 to 11 is the average, and so you could potentially go in with as little as 64 MP and still be able to win the fight. But NESCard right now, I do believe he is sitting on 10 heal mores right now. So if things stay this way,
use a regular heal spell to conserve herbs, so he's down to exactly 80 MP, which is 10 heal mores. Having a little issue with the red dragon. Is he fighting through red dragons now? Okay, he's decided to switch strategies and fight through some red dragons here. Might want to use an herb or two. He had 6 of them, so okay. So there you go. Decides. I think he had run from some earlier, and now that he's this close, decides like, let's lower the variance, just fight this red dragon. Hopefully he doesn't get any more. And we still don't know what's on the spike, unless I guess Tristal knows, right? He checked it. But NESCard doesn't know yet, so he's just trying to conserve as much as possible. And is Tristal fighting his way down for yet another level? He's not totally confident with these broadsword stats here. It looks like he's fighting green dragons, so he's looking for 16 just in case. And the Axe Knight Guardian, no problem for NESCard.
Yeah, I would be looking for another level in this position, as even just a couple of attack power could swing things back into a safer position. But now, NESCard going into the fight, gets looks like he got a physical attack to lead off, throws that Death Necklace on, and now just cruising right through. No, not quite. No, he does get the stop spell there. Going to go ahead and cruise right through DL1.
He's trying to use some herbs here to get the double attack to start, which I don't blame him. It's close enough where, low rolls could really bite you here. So he's trying. He did get the stop spell in the last possible chance. So he's got a very good chance of getting double, or at least if he gets back attack, he should at least get 1 attack here. Doesn't get back attacked. And it starts with an 18, which is a very good start for him. So he's in great shape.
Yeah, with 32 total damage off that double, he's already well above the average. And so as long as things continue to go his way here, a 14, 46 is going to bring him a little bit, 44. It's going to bring him a little bit below that average, but again, going in with 2 more heal mores than he needs.
And Tristal with the opposite strategy, fighting all the enemies except the red dragons. Now he's actually running from a couple of other enemies as well, but yeah, fighting the Axe Knight. He is looking for 16, already on the bottom floor, but by the time he gets to the Dragon Lord, it looks like NESCardinality will probably have defeated the Dragon Lord. I think these rolls are going really well. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Tristal is still quite a ways away from level 16. I do believe it comes at 9750. So 1,000 experience points away, and even if you were to grind that Axe Knight efficiently, by the time he is done with that, NESCard will have this fight all wrapped up here, down to 3 heal mores. I would not be surprised. 17 there, swinging above the average. I would not be surprised to see the final attack here momentarily.
Makes a nice hero walk all the way to the mini boss. NESCardinality going to heal up. Maybe knew that he could potentially get him, but just in case you're miscounting, you know, take your time with the menuing, take your time with your counting. Knows he's got the resources. There it is, guys. Get your GGs out. NESCardinality is in the winner's bracket final.
Indeed, he is in the winner's bracket final, just making his way up through to talk to the king. There is the dot done. NESCard has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 18 minutes and 3 seconds. I can't wait for this interview. This race was neck and neck and back and forth in some points, with some of the knowledge going one way, some of the knowledge going the other. And at the end of the day, it did come down to that mental error. NESCard given the opportunity to find the things that he needed, and once that door was open, he walked right through. It'll be interesting to see if Tristal can get the stats that he needs at the next level to finish up himself.
Yep, and looks like Tristal's going to play it out. At least wants to take a look, see what this level is going to bring. The Axe Knight seems to be not much of a problem for him, so he's just going back and forth on the spike tile here. Hasn't really used any MP yet, so yeah, he's should be in fine shape. If he gets any sort of a level up here at all, it'll help.
Alrighty, I do believe we have NESCard in the booth with us. NESCard, congratulations on the win. How are you feeling?
A little bit surprised with all the early deaths, especially the red dragons, which kind of mirrored my my previous race as well. I was worried that I was behind, and I guess I'm very curious to have you guys fill me in on that situation.
Yeah, it was fairly close experience-wise, and it seemed like you were a little behind with exploration. It seemed like it took forever for you to find the grave, which of course you needed for the token. Just one of those things that, you know, you were looking all over the map and just not finding it. And yeah, Tristal, I'm trying to figure out if there was a mistake or if it just was a routing decision or what, but he had gotten Caitlyn and the coordinates fairly early and just never went for the princess and never tracked down the sword. So he's about to fight the Dragon Lord with the broadsword. So consequently, he's going to be a couple of levels above where you are. He's about to get level 16. So he went and dove through Sharlock, presumably looking for the sword. So yeah, a couple of things happened with him in the last 15-20 minutes. That was a pretty big divergence from your experience, but before that, like at the 45-minute mark, you had identical experience and mostly the same items. So it was very interesting. It just came down to the end there with the trying to get the sword.
Wow, well that doesn't sound too bad, because the levels are still close together, and of course I was finding red dragons everywhere. He'd have no problem fighting those for quick experience. I even considered getting a level on the way down, especially when I saw that every floor had red dragons. But in the end, I made it to the bottom floor with enough leeway that I realized it made sense to fight red dragons down there. I think I fought one, maybe two, and I managed to keep all my heal mores, and it worked out.
Yeah, on the bottom floor, I noticed you switched strategies there because you had all your herbs, and if you had to use one or two after the battle, it's better than opening up the variants where you get blocked 6 or 7 times, you just can't run away or whatever, ruin your whole dive. So yeah,
exactly,
because you had run away from some earlier, so it was possible to run, but it was like 82 agility. I don't know.
Exactly, just avoiding the possibility when we had the advantage.
So how were you feeling kind of like at the 1 hour mark when you still hadn't found the grave? And I think you had a few other locations. I think somehow you had missed Caitlyn too, and you were in the Rimmildar region pretty early, and it was like one screen away and didn't go back that way.
Coming back, I knew where it had to be, but when I saw it and how close it was to Rimmildar and what I had already drawn on my paper, I was surprised that I hadn't seen it, and I was very worried. So first of all, I went to the grave first. I got the token, and I decided to gamble on the sword being on the map and not at the bottom of the grave. and that worked out. And then secondly, I came back and I saw the coordinates and I looked at my map. I remembered the Swamp South having flat land below it, so I was pretty sure it had to be over there. And but yeah, since I knew it was the sword, I was definitely worried that I was behind still, and that's how I felt through the entire race. I don't think it changed a single thing that I did. I just tried to finish as quickly as possible under my circumstances.
So what is the how do you make the decision then to gamble on not diving the grave in that situation? It's specifically because you felt like you were behind because of things that happened earlier?
No, I generally I tend to think that the Cantlin Cole Hawksness trio will favor having something. I don't know the exact math on it, but I think that's true. I suppose if the sword hadn't been on the map, I probably would have gone back to the grave. That would have been scary. But or either that or gained a level and reevaluated. Maybe bought a flame sword. Although
Yeah,
I
it just
didn't
so
even look for
happens
one.
that some of the levels you guys got at the end were just outrageous. Like, so it was I think the one that Tristal got right after yours seemed like you could win with the broadsword, but it was close. It was that big of a level. So yeah, I wonder if something like that would have happened for you as well. Maybe just take a few more fights while you're making your decision. Then it's like, oh, well, we just got all these stats. So yeah, really, the last 20 minutes was kind of crazy to watch.
Yeah, the one other thing was the first time I went through the swamp cave, I didn't see any enemies. I got through and I saw Hawksness, but I didn't know what it was. I kept thinking, what if it's Remulder? I have to go back and look at how close Remulder was to the swamp north location on the mainland if I had just gone a little further that way. All sorts of factors led me to worry about being behind. But again, I just played my game and, just tried to make optimal decisions under the circumstances.
You know, NESCard, I think that parallels a seed that you and I just played recently. When you were describing it in those terms, I was like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, that'll happen. That was what, 2 or 3 days ago, something like that. I think so.
Yeah,
Congrats
just a couple
to
of nights
Tristal
ago.
guys for finishing this seed out strong. Everybody's got the GGs going in chat. Lavkin, do you have an official time?
Yeah, we have Tristal finishing in second place with a broadsword and an official SRL time of 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 20 seconds. Very, very close. Essentially a Sharlock Dives difference in time, as Tristal did make his way down and got himself an extra level, which gave 10 power and was enough to finish off the Dragon Lord pretty comfortably during the interview. And I imagine we'll have him in Discord shortly for a post-game interview.
Yeah,
And while we're waiting for Tristal and NESCard, what do you think about the start now? You had heal and hurt, and you guys had gold to work with, but it seemed like, I don't know, you were doing a lot of early exploration, and you guys weren't too worried about spending the money. You had rolled low on the gold, and so you ended up settling for the copper sword. No thought about resetting for the hand axe that you saw there or anything like that. So yeah,
I figured some people would be nervous about that, but I wasn't worried at all because it's a difference of 5 power, and we had hurt and we had a decent amount of attack power as well. So I figured the copper sword would be fine, and I think I was right. I did a fair amount of fighting with it, but again, it's just 5 attack power difference. I think it was fine. And then I tried to explore because I kept getting enough money for keys. And I started thinking, we're in this situation where gold, getting keys might give us a gold grind that'll just explode our progress. So that was my thinking. I just wanted to find Remulder.
Yep, for sure. It made sense to us as well. So is that Tristal?
Yeah, I think I made it.
You made it.
All right. Makes it in with the broadsword. Very nice race. Very nice. How did it feel from your end?
Complete and utter disaster.
I certainly felt that way early.
A lot of things were very similar with you guys for like the first 45 minutes, and then there was quite a divergence.
Yeah, so I found Garen's grave way too early before I had keys. I didn't find keys until like 34, 35 minutes, so I just assumed as soon as I saw Rimmildar there finally, I was already dead by like 10 minutes, and it turns out I was only dead by 6 minutes.
Yeah, so the main thing we were obviously wanting to ask about was you had gotten to Cantlin in the coordinates kind of early on, Never really went for the princess rescue. You went back and forth through there a couple of times, declined on the princess rescue, and then later on you went into Charlock for some treasury raiding. Seemed like you never bothered to go track down the overworld item.
Yeah, it was only 50-50 that it was Erdrick's sword. That was the only thing I was looking for at that point. I hadn't found Death Necklace either at the inflection point, whether I needed to save the princess or not. So really only 1 in 3 chance. I hadn't found Cole yet. I hadn't even checked the Hawk's Nest spot. So it was unlikely I was going to need to rescue the princess to find the overworld spot, what with having all the rainbow drop ingredients already. So I just didn't feel like it was worth it. The problem was I never found coal, I never found a flame sword, I never found a silver shield. So I just didn't feel like level 15 was going to be good enough. It was also plausible that Erdrick's sword was just in Deep Grave. I honestly have no idea where it was. So yeah, there was just too many variables. Treasury was the most likely place for Erdrick's sword.
Yeah,
So
we
I just
felt
went for
like,
that.
because you were wandering around for a little while there before you went into Charlock, and we were feeling like if you could just find Cole,
Yeah, exactly.
because
Yeah,
Cole had the flute, and then you would know for sure that the sword was on the map because you already had the coordinates, and you would have everything else that could be on a search spot. So if
well,
you had the,
honestly, if I had found Cole and it didn't have Flame Sword, Silver Shield, or Erdrick's Sword, I still don't think I would have gone to find the coordinates because it would have just taken too long. I would have rather just gotten level 16 and tried to get it from there.
like by then you already had 15, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was
If you
just
had
way
found
too
it
late because
earlier, I
the
guess. Yeah.
coordinates were so far away, although I kind of assumed they were on the second continent. But, that's 3-4 minutes dealing with, rescuing the princess and then going to find the sword. So, oh well.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, so it was just like you said, you hadn't seen Cole yet, and I think that would have made a big difference for you if you had seen it like a little earlier. Obviously,
Yeah.
finding it by level 15 or 16, like you already had the stats, so yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah, was Cole like sort of in the southwest part of the map, sort of near Garen's grave?
It was it was not in that southeast area. It was below Remulder, sort of next to the tablet cave. If you saw that.
I did not see that either. That was another variable.
So if
Okay.
you were okay with like kind of the end game, how everything went with those decisions, what made you describe it as a disaster overall? What was making you feel like the race was a disaster?
Well, Rimmildar being so close to start and not finding it until 34 minutes in, just immediately that sense of dread, like, okay, well, if NESCardinality got keys 10 minutes in, then he had Erdrick's armor 15 minutes in, and it's just, I'm so far behind at that point. So yeah, just not really finding anything. Just so many things didn't go my way. Just the map exploration in general was really bad. Like I said, finding Garen's grave that early without keys is really bad. With it being that far across the edge of the map, if there were like Erdrick's token or something in Deep Grave, then that was just a huge amount of time I'd have to take to go back there. Also, choosing to explore at level 7 instead of grinding to 8. I'm not saying that was a bad decision, but Hurtmore being at 8 definitely hurt me there. So yeah, just a lot of things didn't go my way that seed.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Well, it was very similar for me in the opening. I think I also got keys in Remulder close to the 30-minute mark. Before that, I was trying to get through the swamp cave numerous times. I had seen Hawksness over there, and I was thinking maybe it's Remulder, so I kept pressing.
Yeah, I saw Hawksness early-ish. Like I had hurt more by the time I went in there, but I think we have 52 HP, 34 MP or something like that. Figured unless it's exactly Axe Knight, I am probably not going to be able to kill the Hawksness enemy. I did end up getting whatever was on it, but yeah, just a lot of things not going my way that seed.
Well,
I
good
hope
news is it's double elimination, right? So you are still in the tournament. You'll be in the bonus bracket semifinals. You're guaranteed to be in the top 6 overall in the tournament. Looks like there's a match probably scheduled next week between Guelph 35 and Brian Williams 42. It looks like you're going to be facing the winner of that one.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have that extra bracket to save me a little bit. So hopefully I can continue on through there and maybe make it back to grand finals.
NESCard, you're moving on to the winner's bracket final. I think, facing off against the number 9 seed of the tournament, Up to NG.
Oh, that's awesome! Up to NG is making it again after last year when he made it to the finals. That's awesome.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to that. So,
I believe I said something about that to you not that long ago. That it's a tough field out there, but there haven't been that many people who can say they've been in a finals.
I got a good scouting report tonight. I was watching closely.
Well, thank you guys so much for putting this on. I hope everyone enjoyed the race. It sounds like it was epic. The fact that we both had our major struggles and still, we were both apparently fairly even according to the commentators. I look forward to watching this one back for sure.
It'll be a good one to watch back. There were some slightly different decisions that were made at different times, and sometimes you had the information that the other one didn't. But for the most part, it was extremely close the entire way through, and even the 6-minute difference is pretty close. But it was even closer than that for most of the race. So yeah, an interesting one to watch back for sure.
I was just trying to look to inform the viewers of upcoming races on the schedule. There's nothing actually scheduled yet because we're at the end of the week here for this round, and nothing for next week. And now we're getting to where there's actually not many races left. So just gotta stay tuned for the schedule. Keep following the necessary channels. We got Randomania here on RPG Limit Break, Speed Gaming. Make sure you give our runners tonight a follow, guys. That put on a heck of a performance. And shout out to our restreamer, Lord of the Synth, and Cami and Renekai, the tracking. What else is going on, Lavkin?
Alrighty, yeah. Thanks again to NESCard and Tristal for putting on an amazing race. Lord of the Synth, Cami and Renekai behind the scenes. And of course, my co-commentator Up to NG. NESCard, did you have a final comment you wanted to put in?
I just want to thank everyone again for putting on the show. Really appreciate it. Everything goes so smoothly, and I look forward to next week's match as well.
And Tristal, did you have any final thoughts?
No, as always, thank you to all the staff and everybody involved in running this tournament. It's been so much fun.
And best of luck to Tristal on the other side.
Thank you. We'll see if I meet you back in Grand Finals.
Awesome.
Sorry, Up. One of you, anyway.
Alrighty, and with that, we're going to wrap things up here at RPG Limit Break, but don't go anywhere. We are going to throw it over to my good friend, Sum Diener, who some of you may know took the Dragon Warrior 4 world record, getting the first sub-6 ever claimed in that game. He is now working on Dragon Quest II Super Famicom Edition. Go ahead and wish him some good luck. He's only an hour into what is going to be probably about a 4-hour speed run, so plenty of action coming up in the near future. But until next time we join you on RPG Limit Break for Dragon Warrior Randomizer, please